The scent of pine and wet earth clung to everything in Greystone territory. To the wooden beams of the pack house, to the fur-lined cloaks hanging by the doors, to my own skin no matter how many times I scrubbed it raw. Tonight that scent mixed with something sharper, the metallic tang of anxiety that seemed to seep from every wolf gathered in the great hall. I stood at the very edge of the crowd, my blonde hair braided so tightly it pulled at my scalp. As I stand here in this grand hall, surrounded by all these elegant werewolves in their finest ceremonial clothes, watching the chandeliers cast dancing shadows across the marble floors, I don't feel hopeful. I don't feel excited. I feel like I'm walking toward my own execution. Before I walk you through my story, please tell me your name, the city you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel as part of your wonderful support. Can you feel it? That tension in the air? It's so thick you could cut it with a knife. Every breath I take feels heavy, like the weight of 1,000 judgmental eyes is pressing down on my chest. And maybe that's because it is. Maybe that's because everyone here already knows what I'm just beginning to accept. I don't belong here. Why am I even here? That's the question that keeps echoing in my mind, over and over again like a broken record. I'm standing in this delicate dress that I borrowed. Well, actually, my stepmother allowed me to wear one of her old ones, and I can feel the fabric against my skin like it's mocking me, like it's whispering, "You're not worthy of this. You never were." Look around with me for a second. Do you see all these she-wolves? They're stunning. They're confident. They carry themselves like they were born for this moment, born to stand beside an alpha, born to lead a pack. And then there's me, Lena, the girl who shouldn't even be at this ceremony. The orphan who was taken in out of obligation, not love. The stepsister who's always been just a little too plain, a little too quiet, a little too nothing. My heart is racing so fast right now. Can you hear it? It feels like it's going to burst right out of my chest. I'm trying to take deep breaths, trying to calm myself down, but every time I look around, every time I catch someone's eye, I see the same thing, pity mixed with contempt. It's like they're all asking the same question. What is she doing here? And speaking of people staring at me, do you feel that? That cold, calculated gaze burning into the back of my head? I don't even have to turn around to know who it is. My stepsisters, Alara and Celine. They're standing at a distance, probably over by the refreshment table, and I can practically feel them smirking. You know those people in your life who just seem to live for your misery? Yeah, that's them. They've been watching me all night waiting. Always waiting. Like predators circling their prey, just biding their time until they can strike. Why do they hate me so much? I've asked myself that question 1,000 times, and I still don't have a good answer. Maybe it's because their mother took me in when I had nowhere else to go. Maybe they see me as competition, even though I'm clearly not. Or maybe, and this is the thought that haunts me the most, maybe they just hate me because I exist. Because I'm a reminder of something, someone, some life that they want to forget. I can feel their eyes on me right now. It's making my skin crawl. You know that sensation when you know someone's talking about you? That prickling feeling on the back of your neck? That's what I'm experiencing right now, multiplied by 100. I try to focus on something else, anything else. The music playing in the background, some traditional werewolf melody that's supposed to be romantic and magical. The scent of night-blooming jasmine that someone's arranged in massive vases around the hall. The way the moonlight streams through those tall, arched windows, painting everything in silver and shadow. But none of it helps. Because I know what's coming. I can sense it in my bones, in that instinctive way that werewolves have. Something's about to happen, and it's not going to be good. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. They're coming over here. I can see them out of the corner of my eye, and my stomach just dropped to the floor. Alara and Celine are moving through the crowd like sharks cutting through water, their eyes locked on me with that look. You know the one I'm talking about, that mixture of malicious glee and cold calculation that makes you want to run and hide. But I can't run. Where would I even go? This is the Luna selection. Everyone who's anyone in the werewolf community is here. The alphas, the betas, the pack leaders from territories near and far. If I run now, I'll humiliate myself even more than I already have just by showing up. So I stand my ground. I lift my chin just a little bit, trying to look brave, even though inside I'm absolutely terrified. My hands are shaking. Can you see them? I clasp them together in front of me, hoping no one notices. Alara reaches me first. She's the older one, tall and elegant with hair like spun gold and eyes like ice. Everything about her screams alpha female material. And she knows it too. You can see it in the way she carries herself, in the way she looks down at everyone, especially me. Look at you, Lena, she says, and her voice is loud. Purposefully loud. Loud enough that the people around us stop their conversations and turn to watch. You think he would ever choose you to be the Luna? You're nothing. Each word hits me like a physical blow. But you know what the worst part is? It's not even the words themselves. It's the truth behind them. Because she's right, isn't she? What alpha would ever choose someone like me? Celine joins in, laughing. It's not a genuine laugh. It's harsh and mocking, designed to cut deep. Let's make sure everyone sees how pathetic you really are, she says, and there's this gleam in her eyes that makes my blood run cold. What are they going to do? My mind is racing, trying to figure out what they have planned, but before I can even process what's happening, Alara reaches out and grabs my dress. Time seems to slow down. Have you ever experienced that? That moment when something terrible is happening and your brain processes every single detail with crystal clarity, even though it's all happening in seconds? Alara's fingers close around the delicate fabric of my dress, and she pulls. Hard. The sound of tearing cloth echoes through the hall like a gunshot. I gasp. I can't help it. The dress rips violently, and suddenly I'm exposed in front of everyone. I'm trying to hold it together. Literally and figuratively. My hands fly to the torn fabric, desperately trying to cover myself, trying to preserve some shred of dignity. But it's too late. The damage is done. And then the laughter starts. Oh God, the laughter. It starts as a few scattered chuckles, but then it grows, spreading through the crowd like wildfire. They're laughing at me. All of them. These dignified werewolves, these supposed pillars of our community, and they're laughing at my humiliation like it's the most entertaining thing they've seen all night. My vision blurs. Are those tears? I try to blink them back, but they're already forming, hot and shameful. This can't be happening. This cannot be happening. I'm at the Luna selection, the most important event of my life, and I'm standing here in a torn dress while everyone laughs at me. Why do they hate me so much? The question screams through my mind again, more painful. This time, because the evidence of their hatred is right here, on display for everyone to see. What did I ever do to deserve this? I've tried to be kind. I've tried to stay out of their way. I've tried to be invisible, insignificant, unworthy of their attention. But apparently, that wasn't enough. The humiliation is crushing. It's not just embarrassment. It's something deeper, something that touches the very core of who I am. It's the feeling of being completely and utterly powerless. Of being at the mercy of people who want to destroy you just because they can. My body is trembling. I can feel it shaking, and I hate that I can't control it. I'm still trying to hold the dress together, but my hands are shaking so badly that it's almost impossible. The fabric slips through my fingers, and I have to keep readjusting, keep trying to maintain some semblance of modesty while the entire hall watches my struggle. The whispers are almost worse than the laughter. At least the laughter was honest in its cruelty. But the whispers? They're insidious. They slither around the room like poisonous snakes, and even though I can't make out the exact words, I know what they're saying. I can feel it in my bones. Poor thing. How pathetic. She never belonged here, anyway. What was she thinking? Each whisper is another weight added to the crushing burden I'm already carrying. I feel like I'm sinking, drowning in a sea of judgment and scorn. My knees feel weak. How am I still standing? How am I not just collapsing right here on this polished marble floor? What's happening to me? This was supposed to be different. This was supposed to be my chance to change my story, to become something more than the orphan stepsister. But instead, I'm living out my worst nightmare in front of everyone. Why am I still standing here? Pride? Stubbornness? Or maybe it's just shock. Maybe my body hasn't caught up with my brain yet, hasn't fully processed the magnitude of this disaster. Maybe in a few seconds, I'll come to my senses and run out of here, leaving nothing behind but the echo of laughter and the memory of my humiliation. This is my moment, they said. Your moment to shine, they said. But all I feel is the weight of their scorn pressing down on me, threatening to crush me into dust. And then everything changes. The heavy wooden doors at the far end of the hall creak open. It's a sound that cuts through all the whispers and laughter, like a blade through silk. Suddenly, inexplicably, the room goes completely still. The shift in atmosphere is immediate and dramatic. 1 second, everyone's focused on me and my humiliation. The next second, every single pair of eyes in the room turns toward those open doors. Even my stepsisters stop their mocking. Even the cruelest of the onlookers fall silent. Something's happening. Someone's here. And whoever it is, their presence alone is enough to command the attention of every werewolf in this hall. A presence fills the space. It's hard to describe, but if you've ever been in the presence of true power, you know what I'm talking about. It's like the air itself becomes heavier, charged with an energy that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. It's primal. It's overwhelming. It's terrifying. The Alpha King walks in. Oh my God. The Alpha King. Riker. I've heard the whispers about him, of course. Who hasn't? The stories about the Alpha King spread through werewolf territories like legends, some calling him a just ruler, others whispering that he's ruthless, dangerous, someone you don't want to cross. They say he's young for a king, but that he claimed his throne through strength and cunning. They say his wolf is bigger than any other, black as midnight with eyes that glow like molten gold. But I never imagined I'd see him in person. Not like this. Not when I'm standing here in a torn dress, tears still wet on my cheeks, the very picture of humiliation and weakness. He's tall. That's the first thing I notice. He towers over everyone in the room, and it's not just his physical height. It's the way he carries himself, like he owns not just this hall, but the very ground beneath it. There's something imposing about him, something that makes you want to either kneel or run, and you're not quite sure which. His presence is overwhelming. I can feel it washing over me in waves, and for a moment, I forget about my torn dress, forget about the laughter, forget about everything except the sheer force of his existence. The Alpha King's gaze scans the crowd. I watch him, mesmerized despite myself, as his eyes move systematically across the assembled werewolves. Everyone seems to hold their breath, waiting to see where his attention will land. And then he looks at me. Our eyes lock, and I swear to you, the world stops spinning. Time freezes. Everything else fades away until there's nothing but his gaze and my racing heart. Does he see me? Really see me? Not just the humiliated girl in the torn dress, but me? The person beneath all this shame and pain? His eyes are intense. I've never experienced anything like it. It's like he's looking straight through me, past all my defenses, past all the walls I've built up over the years. Like he's searching for something. But what? What could the Alpha King possibly want with someone like me? The air feels thick, heavy, charged with something I don't understand. I can't breathe. Literally cannot draw a full breath. My chest feels tight, and my heart is pounding so hard I'm sure everyone in the room can hear it. He doesn't look away. That's what gets me. Anyone else would have looked away by now, would have moved on to survey the rest of the crowd. But not him. His gaze stays locked on mine as he begins to walk toward the center of the room. Every step he takes echoes through the silent hall. The crowd parts for him automatically, people moving aside without even seeming to think about it, like water flowing around a stone. And with each step he takes, my pulse races faster. What is happening? The question screams through my mind, but I have no answers. Only more questions. Why is he looking at me? What does he see when he looks at me? What does he want? I feel like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff, and I don't know if I'm about to fall or fly. Riker reaches the center of the room. He's still looking at me, his gaze unwavering, and then he speaks. One word. Just one word, but it's spoken with such authority, such absolute command, that it reverberates through the entire hall. Enough. His voice is deep. Commanding. The kind of voice that doesn't ask, it demands. The kind of voice that expects to be obeyed without question. And it is. The crowd falls into an even deeper silence, if that's possible. My heart is in my throat now. I literally feel like I might choke on it. My breath catches, and I can't seem to draw another one. What is happening? Why is he here? What does this mean? But before I can even begin to process any of this, before my shocked brain can formulate any kind of coherent thought, he moves again. He walks toward me. Directly toward me. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. The Alpha King is walking toward me. Every instinct in my body is screaming at me to run, to hide, to do something, but I'm frozen. My feet might as well be rooted to the spot. He towers over me as he approaches. I have to tilt my head back to maintain eye contact, and that's when I realize just how overwhelming his presence truly is. Up close, it's even more intense. I can feel the power radiating off him in waves. I can smell his scent, pine, and smoke, and something wild and untamed that makes my wolf stir inside me for the first time tonight. I can barely hold my ground. My legs are shaking, my hands are trembling, and I'm still clutching desperately at my torn dress. I must look absolutely pathetic. But I can't look away from him. I literally cannot look away. Riker stands before me. The entire hall holds its breath. Time seems to stop. And then he speaks again, and everything changes. I claim you as mine. I freeze. Completely, totally freeze. Did I hear that right? Did the Alpha King just say what I think he said? My mind is racing, spinning, trying to make sense of words that don't make any sense. He's claiming me? Me? Lena, the nobody, the orphan, the girl who was just humiliated in front of everyone? Is this real? This can't be real. Things like this don't happen to people like me. Alpha Kings don't claim girls they've never met, girls who are standing in torn dresses, girls who have nothing to offer. Why me? The question echoes through my mind so loudly, I almost say it out loud. Why me? Out of all the beautiful, accomplished, worthy she-wolves in this hall, why would he choose me? His words are still echoing in my ears. I claim you as mine. Each word reverberates through my entire being, settling somewhere deep in my chest where I can feel them like a physical presence. But what do they mean? In werewolf culture, a claim like that, it's binding. It's serious. It's not something you can just take back. When an alpha claims someone, especially the Alpha King, it's a declaration that carries the weight of law, of tradition, of destiny itself. I can't process this. My brain literally cannot handle what's happening right now. This morning, I woke up as nobody. This evening, I came to this ceremony expecting humiliation, and I got it. But now? Now I'm being claimed by the most powerful werewolf in our world? None of this makes sense. None of it. Before I can even begin to formulate a response, before I can do anything but stand there in shock, Riker moves again. His hand reaches out, and I flinch slightly, not because I'm afraid he'll hurt me, but because I don't know what's happening. With a swift, fluid motion, he removes his royal cloak. It's magnificent, dark as midnight, lined with silver embroidery that catches the light and seems to glow. This isn't just any cloak. This is the royal cloak, the symbol of his authority, the physical manifestation of his power and position. And he places it over my shoulders. The weight of it settles around me, heavy but not uncomfortable. The fabric is warm, and it smells like him, that intoxicating scent of pine and smoke and wild places. It envelopes me in its dark, mysterious folds, covering my torn dress, covering my shame, covering everything. I'm overwhelmed. That's the only word for what I'm feeling right now. This is too much. Too much emotion, too much sensation, too much everything. The cloak feels heavy against my shoulders, and I can't tell if it's the actual weight of the fabric or the symbolic weight of what this gesture means. In werewolf tradition, when an alpha covers someone with their cloak, it's a sign of protection, of claiming, of saying, this person is under my care now, and anyone who harms them answers to me. But it also feels like I'm being protected. Or trapped. Maybe both? I don't know. I honestly don't know. There's something comforting about it. For the first time since my dress was torn, I feel covered. Protected. Safe even, which is insane because I don't know this man at all. He's the Alpha King, a figure of legend and power, and I'm just me. But there's also something terrifying about it, because this cloak is a cage as much as it is a shield. Once you're claimed by the Alpha King, once you're under his protection, you're also under his authority. You belong to him in ways that are both literal and metaphorical. Why do I feel like my fate is being sealed in this one moment? Because it is. I know it is. Everything is changing, right here, right now, and I have no control over it. I'm being swept up in something so much bigger than myself that I can't even begin to understand it. I stand here, wrapped in the royal cloak, and I realize that my mind is in complete turmoil. Thoughts are racing through my head so fast I can barely catch them. Questions pile up on top of questions, and I don't have answers to any of them. What does this mean? Has my life really just changed in the blink of an eye? One moment I was nothing, and the next I'm wearing the Alpha King's cloak, claimed in front of everyone. The hall is still silent. Everyone is watching this scene unfold like they're witnessing something momentous, something that will be talked about for years to come. And they're right. They are. This moment will be remembered, analyzed, discussed in whispers and open conversations across every werewolf territory. But what are they thinking? I can't read their expressions from here. Can't tell if they're shocked or pleased or angry or confused. Probably all of those things at once. I glance around, still trying to process everything, and my eyes land on my stepsisters. Oh, the looks on their faces. If I wasn't so overwhelmed by everything else, I might actually enjoy this moment. Alara and Celine are standing there looking absolutely furious. Their faces are twisted with an emotion that's hard to name, rage mixed with disbelief, mixed with something that might actually be fear. Their plan to humiliate me has backfired spectacularly, and they know it. They're whispering to each other now, their heads close together, and I don't need to hear the words to know what they're saying. They're plotting, already planning their next move, their revenge, their way to make me pay for this perceived victory. I can practically hear Alara's voice in my head. He can't just take her. We'll make him regret it. They won't stop. I know that with absolute certainty. This isn't over. If anything, this is just the beginning. My stepsisters have never taken defeat gracefully, and they certainly won't start now. Especially not when the stakes are this high. But you know what? For the first time tonight, maybe for the first time in years, I feel something other than fear and shame. I feel determination. Maybe it's the weight of the cloak on my shoulders. Maybe it's the residual effect of Riker's overwhelming presence. But something in me is shifting, changing. They won't stop, but neither will I. I have to find out what this means. I have to understand why the Alpha King claimed me. I have to figure out what I'm tied to now, what web I've been caught in. Because make no mistake, I am caught in something. Something I don't understand, something that's bigger than me, something that might be wonderful or terrible or both at once. I'm still standing here with Riker, and my heart hasn't stopped racing. Not for a single second. If anything, it's beating faster now than it was before, if that's even possible. The Alpha King looks down at me, and I have to crane my neck to meet his gaze. His expression is unreadable. That's the word that keeps coming to mind. I've been around werewolves my whole life, and usually I can read people pretty well. But him? He's like a locked vault, and I don't have the combination. What is he thinking? Why did he do this? Why me? The questions are burning in my mind, but I can't seem to make my mouth form the words. My voice has completely abandoned me. I open my mouth once, twice, trying to speak, but nothing comes out. And then, as if he can read my thoughts, which, God, I hope he can't because they're an absolute mess right now, he speaks. Why did he choose me? The question that's been screaming in my head finally gets acknowledged, but not in the way I expected. Why now? I wonder. Of all the moments, of all the she-wolves in this hall, of all the opportunities he must have had, why did he choose this moment? Why did he choose me when I was at my lowest, when I was humiliated and broken and vulnerable? There's something about the timing that doesn't make sense. Unless that was the point? But that doesn't make sense either. Why would the Alpha King want someone who is just publicly humiliated? What does he see in me? That's the question that haunts me most. Because when I look at myself, I see nothing special. I see a girl who's been told her whole life that she's not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough. I see someone who's ordinary at best. But when Riker looks at me, what does he see? What could he possibly see that would make him do something as dramatic and binding as claiming me in front of everyone? Riker leans down slightly, bringing his face closer to mine. His voice when he speaks is low enough that I think only I can hear it. It's intimate in a way that makes my skin tingle, even though his words are anything but comforting. Do you really want to know, Lena?
He knows my name.
How does he know my name? I never told him. We've never met before tonight. But he knows who I am, and somehow that's even more unsettling than everything else. His words hang in the air between us, heavy with meaning I don't quite understand. Do I really want to know?
Know what?
Why he claimed me.
What he sees in me.
What this all means. Sometimes the answers you seek. He continues, and there's something dark in his tone, something that makes warning bells go off in my head, are darker than the questions you ask. What does he mean? Is he warning me? Threatening me? Testing me? I search his face for clues, but that expression remains frustratingly unreadable. His words send a shiver down my spine. There's a weight to them, a significance that I can feel even if I don't fully understand it. He's telling me something important, something crucial, but it's wrapped in riddles and mystery. Is he warning me, or inviting me into something deeper? The way he says it, the tone of his voice, the intensity in his eyes, it could be either. Or both. Maybe he's warning me that if I dig too deep, if I ask too many questions, I'll find answers I don't like. Answers that will change me. Answers that will reveal truths about him, about me, about this whole situation that are better left buried. Or maybe he's inviting me to take that risk anyway. Maybe he's challenging me, seeing if I have the courage to pursue the truth even knowing it might be dark and dangerous and difficult. I don't know which interpretation is correct. Maybe they're both true. Maybe that's the point. I'm conflicted. That's the best word I can find for what I'm feeling right now. Completely and utterly conflicted. Part of me wants to rip this cloak off, run out of this hall, and never look back. That would be the smart thing to do, right? The Alpha King just warned me that the truth is darker than I can imagine. He basically told me that getting involved with him is dangerous. Any sane person would take that warning and run. But I can't. I literally cannot walk away from this, even if I wanted to. And that's the terrifying part. I'm not sure I want to. There's something pulling me toward him, toward this mystery, toward whatever darkness he's hinting at. Is it curiosity? Desperation? The fact that for the first time in my life, someone powerful actually chose me instead of discarding me? Or is it something deeper? Something I don't want to acknowledge? Like maybe, just maybe, some part of me recognizes him. Not as a person I've met before, but as something essential. Something fated.
No.
I can't think like that. Fated mates are rare, and they certainly don't happen like this. They don't happen with dramatic public claims and warnings about darkness and mystery. But then why can't I stop looking at him? Why does his scent make my wolf stir inside me in ways I've never experienced before? Why does the weight of his cloak on my shoulders feel both like a burden and like coming home? I'm trapped. Not by him, necessarily, but by my own conflicting desires. The desire to be safe wars with the desire to finally matter to someone. The desire to run wars with the desire to stay and figure out what all of this means. And underneath it all, there's a question I don't want to acknowledge but can't ignore. What if this is my only chance? What if I walk away now and spend the rest of my life wondering what could have been? Let me tell you something about my life before this moment. It was small, predictable, painful, yes, but in familiar ways. I knew exactly where I stood at the bottom. I knew exactly what to expect. Humiliation, dismissal, being overlooked and undervalued. But everything I thought I knew has just been turned upside down in the span of maybe 5 minutes. The Luna selection was supposed to be a new beginning for me. That's what I told myself, anyway. I'd come to the ceremony, and even if I wasn't chosen, at least I'd have tried. At least I'd have put myself out there, taken a risk, been brave for once in my life. I never expected it to go like this. I never expected to be humiliated in the worst way possible. But I also never expected to be claimed by the Alpha King himself. Now I'm standing here in his cloak, under his protection, marked as his in front of everyone, and I have absolutely no idea what any of it means or what happens next. What does it mean for me to be claimed by him? In practical terms, what does my life look like now? Do I go with him? Do I leave my stepfamily's house? Do I move to the royal pack? Do I have any say in this at all? And what about him? The Alpha King is not just a title, it's a responsibility. He rules over all the werewolf territories, mediates disputes between packs, enforces our laws and traditions. He's not just powerful, he's arguably the most important werewolf alive. And he's claimed me.
Why?
What possible use could he have for someone like me? I can't walk away from this, even if I wanted to. That much is clear. The claim has been made publicly, witnessed by everyone. To reject it now would be an insult not just to him personally, but to his authority as Alpha King. It could cause a scandal, maybe even political complications. But more than that, and this is the part one don't want to admit, I don't want to walk away. Despite the fear, despite the confusion, despite the very reasonable warning he just gave me, I want to know what happens next. I want to understand why he chose me. I want to uncover the mystery behind his words and his actions. I want to know what he sees when he looks at me, even if the answers are dark, even if they change everything. The Alpha King, Riker, he's only the beginning.
What do I mean by that?
I mean that this moment, this claiming, this dramatic gesture, it's not an ending. It's a beginning. The beginning of something I can't yet see or understand, but something I can feel lurking just beyond my perception.
There's so much I don't know about him.
The stories I've heard are contradictory and vague. Some say he's ruthless, that he claimed his throne by defeating his own father in combat when he was barely of age. Others say he's just, that he's brought peace to territories that had been feuding for generations. Some whisper that he has secrets, dark things in his past that he keeps buried. Others claim he has enemies who would do anything to see him fall. But what's the truth? Who is Riker really beneath the crown and the power and the reputation? And why does it feel like my fate is now irrevocably tied to his? I look at him again. Really look at him. His face is strong, angular, with a jaw that could cut glass. His eyes are the color of amber, but they shift sometimes in the light, taking on hints of gold or even red. His hair is dark, almost black, and just long enough to curl slightly at the nape of his neck. He's handsome. I'd have to be blind not to see that. But it's more than that. There's something magnetic about him, something that draws you in even when your better judgment is screaming at you to keep your distance. I think about his words again. Sometimes the answers you seek are darker than the questions you ask. What darkness is he hiding? What secrets does he keep? And why do I get the feeling that once I start uncovering them, there will be no going back? The Alpha King is only the beginning. The beginning of a journey I never asked for, but apparently can't avoid. The beginning of mysteries and revelations, and probably dangers I can't even imagine yet. And somehow, against all logic and reason, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. Like everything in my life, all the pain, all the humiliation, all the years of being nobody, has been leading to this moment. As I stand here, wrapped in his cloak, I realize that I have more questions now than I did when I arrived at the ceremony. Who is Riker really? Beyond the title, beyond the power, beyond the reputation. Who is the man beneath all of that? What does he want from me? Because, let's be real, Alpha Kings don't claim random she-wolves without a reason. There has to be something he wants, something he needs, something I have or can do that made him single me out. Why did he claim me at this exact moment? Was it just coincidence that he walked in right when I was being humiliated? Or was there something more deliberate about the timing? What did he mean about the darkness? What truths is he hiding? What am I getting myself into? And the biggest question of all, the one I'm almost afraid to ask myself, what happens now? Because this moment, as dramatic and overwhelming as it is just a moment. Eventually, the ceremony will end.
People will leave.
The hall will empty. And then what? Do I go with him tonight? Tomorrow? Do I have time to say goodbye to the only home I've known, even if that home was never really a home at all? What will my life look like as someone claimed by the Alpha King? Will I be expected to fulfill some role? Perform some duty? Or am I just a possession now, a trophy to be displayed when needed and locked away when not? These questions swirl through my mind, but I don't have answers to any of them. And somehow, I don't think I'm going to get those answers tonight. You know what's strange? Despite all the fear and confusion and uncertainty, there's a part of me that feels calm. Not resigned, exactly, but accepting. Like somewhere deep inside, I know this is right, even if I don't understand why. Maybe it's the mate bond. Maybe some part of my soul recognizes him as my fated mate, even if my conscious mind hasn't caught up yet. Or maybe it's just that after years of feeling like I didn't belong anywhere, I'm finally being chosen for something. The Lena selection was supposed to be my chance to find my place in the world. I just never imagined my place would be at the side of the Alpha King. I feel the weight of his cloak on my shoulders, and it's like I can feel the weight of destiny itself settling over me. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than him, even. This is something that was always going to happen, and we're just playing out our parts in a story that was written long before either of us was born. Or maybe I'm just trying to make sense of something that makes no sense. Maybe I'm looking for meaning and fate and destiny because the alternative, that this is random, that I'm just caught up in something I don't understand, is too terrifying to accept. But either way, one thing is clear. My life will never be the same after tonight. The girl who walked into this hall, nervous, unsure, dressed in a borrowed gown, she doesn't exist anymore. She died the moment that dress was torn. And someone new is being born in her place, someone who wears the Alpha King's cloak, someone who's been claimed in front of everyone. Who is this new person? I don't know yet. I'm still figuring that out. But I have a feeling I'm going to find out soon. As I stand here in this moment, suspended between my past and my future, I make a decision. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to let fear or uncertainty or my stepsister's threats dictate my actions anymore. I'm going to find out the truth. About Riker.
About why he claimed me.
About the darkness he hinted at. About all of it. Will it be dangerous?
Probably.
Will I uncover things I wish I hadn't? Maybe. Will the answers be darker than the questions, just like he warned?
Possibly.
But I'm done being the girl who hides in the shadows, who accepts humiliation as her due, who never questions or challenges or fights back. The Alpha King claimed me for a reason. And I'm going to find out what that reason is, no matter what it takes. This is my story now. Not my stepsister's story. Not the story everyone else expected for me.
Mine.
And it's just beginning. The Lena selection was supposed to be about finding a mate, finding a pack, finding a place to belong. And in a twisted, unexpected way, maybe I found all of those things tonight. Just not in the way anyone, including me, ever expected. So bring on the darkness. Bring on the mysteries and the secrets and the truths that hide in shadows. I'm ready. Or at least, I'm as ready as I'll ever be. Because when the Alpha King claims you in front of everyone, when he wraps you in his cloak and marks you as his, there's no going back. There's only forward. And I'm finally ready to move forward, to step out of the shadows and into whatever comes next. Even if what comes next is darkness. Even if the truth is more terrifying than I can imagine. Even if everything I thought I knew turns out to be wrong. I'm ready. At least, I think I am. I hope I am. Because ready or not, my new life is starting now, and there's no turning back. The Alpha King claimed me as his, and now I need to find out what that really means. And something tells me it's going to be a journey unlike anything I've ever experienced before. This is where my story begins. Not at the Lena selection, not at the moment of humiliation, but here, now, in this moment of claiming and choice and change. Everything that came before was just the prologue. The real story? That starts now. And I can't wait to see what happens next, even as I'm terrified of what I might discover. Because whatever darkness the Alpha King is hiding, whatever secrets he's keeping, whatever dangers lie ahead, I'm going to face them all. I have to. Because walking away isn't an option anymore. Not when destiny itself has marked me as his. Not when every instinct in my body is screaming that this is where I'm meant to be, even if I don't understand why yet. So, here's to new beginnings. Here's to stepping into the unknown. Here's to finding out who I really am when I'm not hiding in the shadows anymore. Here's to the Alpha King and the girl he claimed. Here's to whatever comes next. I'm ready. I think. I hope. Only time will tell. But one thing's for certain, nothing will ever be the same again. And somehow, despite everything, I think that might actually be a good thing. What do you think? Would you trust the Alpha King? Or would you fear him? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for the next chapter of my story.